On this vote, the yeas are 220, the nays are 211. The motion is adopted. Objection, a motion. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. Okay.
There it is. The third stimulus check package has officially passed both chambers of Congress. Congress is now done with the stimulus package. The bill goes over to Joe Biden. Joe Biden is now planning on signing this bill on Friday. He's planning on signing this bill on Friday. Joe Biden is planning on having a primetime event tomorrow evening, which is Thursday evening, March 11th, to mark the anniversary of the pandemic. And then we'll be signing the stimulus check package on Friday. I'm not exactly sure what the delay is between now and Friday. Like, I kind of feel like, hey, Joe, why don't you just walk into the House and sign it right now? The cameras are on, just walk in there and sign. I don't know, maybe they want to do a whole ceremony. Who knows? The government's really good at wasting our time. Obviously, we know, but it's worth just adding a little bit of extra clarity, because why not provide the details? The bill is including $410 billion for $1,400 stimulus checks going to both adults and dependents, which means college students who are dependents as well, unless they're filing separately. Anybody claiming them, like if you're a dependent college student, will receive this if you are filing with your parents. If you make less than $75,000 a year as an individual, but not more than $80,000 a year, you get the full $1,400. Under $75,000, and obviously phases out to $80K. If you make less than $112,500, you get the full $1,400 as a head of household, as long as you do not make more than $120,000. You'll have that phase-out period there. And if you make less than $150,000 as a joint filer, you will get the full $1,400 check, and then the phase-out will be between $150,000 and $160,000 for joint filers. The $1,400 check could go out as soon as next week. Joe Biden is expecting to sign this Friday, so maybe that means it'll be a little bit later next week, because Joe Biden does say his priority is getting this bill out as soon as possible, getting this signed as soon as possible, getting these checks out as soon as possible, and he will not delay to have his name put on the check. He doesn't care whose name is on it. He wants to see the checks go out. This is something that Jen Psaki has stated today. Child tax credits in the amount of $250 per month per child under 18 and $300 per month for children under 6 will be in effect for the 2021 tax year. This tax credit may start getting distributed monthly starting July 1st. We do expect some sort of portal to be open to allow people to opt out of this or make children for make changes for newly born children or children who have outgrown the credit. You want to make sure that's accurate, otherwise you're going to owe that money back on taxes. That's different from the stimulus checks, where if you accidentally get overpaid on the stimulus checks, you get to keep it. But if you get overpaid on the child tax credit, you won't get to keep it. The bill also provides $4,000 to $8,000 tax credits for dependent care expenses, so that could be adult dependents as well. Tax credits will be for 50% of expenses between $8,000 and $16,000. So that basically means if, let's say, you spent, I believe it's $4,000 for one child and up to $8,000 for 2 children. So let's say you spend $8,000 and you've got one child, you could get 50% or $4,000 in tax credits. Let's say you have 2 dependents, doesn't have to be children, and you spend up to $16,000 in dependent care expenses, you can get up to an $8,000 tax credit, and that benefit extends to families making up to $400,000 a year. The child tax credit and the stimulus checks have similar phase-outs around that 75-150 mark. Around 7% of the bill will go to vaccines and vaccine funding for COVID treatment. Unemployment is getting extended by $300 per week through September 6th, with a tax break of up to $10,200 in tax-free unemployment funding for those who received unemployment funding in 2020. The IRS is expected to roll out guidance for this within the next 2 to 3 weeks in terms of how to claim your refund if you've already filed your 2020 tax return. It is not clear yet that you would have to or would not have to file a tax return amendment, so I would stand by and wait for guidance on that so you don't go through unnecessary work there. Bill also provides the additional $7 billion in PPP funding. We also heard that PPP's the application periods for the PPP will be extended another 3 months, which, remember, if you are a gig worker, you are eligible. If you have a negative net income, you can now use your gross income, as long as your gross income it'll get rounded down to $100,000 if you're making more than $100,000. So great opportunity to use the PPP if you haven't yet. The fact that they're extending this means there's still time. There's still money in the pot to take. It's essentially free money. And you could YouTube search Meet Kevin PPP loans on that for some more guidance on the changes. No student loan forgiveness in this bill. However, forgiveness of a student loan debt, if it happens in the future, will be tax-free between now and 2025. That is something that Congress did sneak in this bill, is that student loan forgiveness will not be taxed. It will not be a taxable event. So even though there is no forgiveness now, we kind of have the groundwork laid. There is no $200 Social Security boost, despite this being something that Joe Biden had talked about regularly on the campaign trail. No $200 boost. It was also in his plan. Maybe it'll come back in the infrastructure plan, which is the next package that will be a top priority for Congress. There is also no minimum wage change in this package, as well as no funding for Nancy Pelosi's transit system or Chuck Schumer's bridge. Well, folks, there you have it. We have our third stimulus package passed. Congratulations. Hopefully you get this funding as soon as possible. We did just see Bitcoin spike, by the way. It's worth putting that up on screen here. Upon the passage of this bill, we did just see Bitcoin jump about $400 per coin. Very interesting to kind of see that almost immediacy of Bitcoin reacting. The stock market itself is pretty flat right now in reaction to this, although we did see Tesla go positive in the last few minutes. So Tesla, at least, of the stocks reacting to this, is reacting. Let's see, there we go. So you can actually see Tesla had a nice little bounce here upon the passage of the bill. Looks like NEO also had some green candlesticks on the passage. Obviously, we imagine that consumer stocks will do well in an event like this. It's certainly interesting that the Voyager CEO, when I interviewed him on the channel, mentioned that when the last stimulus passed, there were a whole lot of exact stimulus checks going directly into Bitcoin accounts over at Voyager. Which, hey folks, thank you so very much for watching. Congratulations again, and folks, that might be it for a time being in terms of stimulus, unless we have other updates in the meantime. The package is passed. Now it's just a matter of waiting for Biden to sign and maybe getting some more details. Thank you so very much for watching. It's been a journey, and folks, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.